Welcome to the Johnston Grocke monthly market update. I'm here with Anthony and Richard and myself, Nicole. We're just going to tell you a little bit about what's going on in the finance world this month. I'm going to throw to Anthony first, if you want to give us a little bit of an update.
Yeah, no worries, thanks Nicole. Look, this is probably our last market, or will be our last market update for this calendar year, and hasn't it been an interesting year? Lots of things happening through the year. Yeah. Most of the time when I've been in front of the camera giving these this year, I've been talking about uncertainty in the markets and the fact that markets don't like uncertainty. And funnily enough, as we come to the end of the year, there's actually just suddenly a little bit of certainty around markets. And we've seen them actually rise around about 10% or so over the last month, and that's actually around the certainty. And those things that have been coming to fruition or coming to certainty over that period are probably a few things. One is the US election. That's obviously come and gone. And there's a feeling that there's a bit of unrest over there with Donald Trump and what he may do, but I think everybody is of the opinion that when the time comes, he'll walk away and he'll open up the office to the new elected president. That also, around that, there's also been a number of US states that have obviously not supported his quest, if you like, to stay in power. The other bit of certainty is probably around our GDP. You know, we saw a quarter where Australia's GDP fell around about 7%, and just more recently the numbers coming out from the last quarter are positive around about 3.3%. So that's given some certainty to people. I think the other thing that's, and probably the most significant one of certainty, is what's been happening more recently with vaccines. And so we've only heard in the last few days that the UK have started to roll out their program, and there's a number of different providers of vaccines that look like they have a solution, if you like, to this pandemic that we've been going through. And so the market looks for certainty. When it finds certainty and it has confidence, then we actually see the market rise. And that's pretty much what we've seen happen over the last month. That said, it's risen around about 10%. It won't rise 10% every month. If it did rise 10% every month, that would be obviously fantastic. But it won't do that. So there will still be some volatility. What will cause that volatility will actually be uncertainty again. So we don't really know what may cause that volatility, but I expect you'll see volatility going forward, and we obviously won't see 10% returns month on month going forward as well. So expect volatility. Expect the other thing that I suppose that could cause the market to correct a little bit is surprises. And so the surprises around those things that I just mentioned, around the GDP going forward, around the vaccine and the success of it going forward, all those things would be surprises, because at the moment the market's assuming a pretty clean run in relationship to that. Longer term, looking out a little bit further, we've got governments that are going to have to deal with significant debt. You know, there's been a lot of money poured into economies over this period of time to actually put that buffer in place. And even in Australia, we've got job people winding back and so forth, which Richard might mention in a moment. So there is, again, some risk around that debt that the governments have taken on, which potentially will lead to inflation. And inflation will be something that they're going to have to deal with going forward. And there's evidence of that already, with commodity prices rising significantly more recently, which again is a little bit of an opportunity from an investment perspective, but also a reflective of what's going on in relationship to the amount of money that's put into our economy. So the good news is it's been a fabulous month for investment markets. However, we won't see 10% month on month, and so be a little bit cautious. But yeah, that's the good news for the month, if you like.
It's nice to end the year on a
that's
better
right.
month.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
Anthony. Richard, on your world.
I'm going in my world. We'll go down the familiar path of JobKeeper just to wind the year out, only because there's been a lot of changes in it in the last few months. All of our clients would have been aware that JobKeeper 2 and JobKeeper 2.1 are now in play, and that there are some pretty different rules around it compared to what it was when it came out. It finishes in March of next year, and we've had a lot of people who, when they did the review for the September quarter, found that they didn't qualify for it anymore. There's still some who have, and then we need to do another review at the end of this quarter. So just reminding our clients to keep an eye on that and contact us with any queries they've got with it. The other one was the state government announced that it was giving small business grants, again similar to what it did back in May and June. The good news with that is that it's meant to applications meant to be December the 14th. They've now pushed it out to February the 28th. So got a bit of time up our sleeves, and that was essentially so that clients could look at their December quarter as well as their September quarter and be in line with business activity statement lodgement. So any small business clients out there who think that they might qualify or I'm not even sure, give us a buzz and we'll have a look at the criteria for you. The other thing that I just wanted to touch on is that with what's happened around the world with COVID-19, there's a lot of Australians who've lived overseas for a long time who are looking to come home and take up permanent residency here, and that's going to have a lot of tax consequences with it. If we're reaching out to people who are overseas and they're concerned about what that's going to affect with their tax position back here in Australia and as they leave the country, please contact us. And if we're talking to clients now who know people overseas who are looking at doing that, again, let us know that that's what you're doing, and we can look into all the pluses and minuses about the timing of your move and what you need to do before you come back to Australia so you don't get overtaxed here and undertaxed overseas.
And Richard, just a question on these small business grants.
Yep.
Is there anything specific they need to be for?
You need to have a turnover of over $75,000.
Right.
In the previous one, you needed to be an employer, but in this one, it's got the same rules as JobKeeper, where you can have a specified person as the owner of the business who can be, for intents and purposes, the employee of the business. So it makes it easier that way. I think there's also a payroll threshold. Don't want to say the number off the top.
A higher threshold, yeah.
So that'll determine whether you qualify for it or not. But again, if you're not sure, I wanted to go ahead with it, give us a call and we'll help you with the application.
Awesome.
And have a great Christmas and New Year, everyone.
Thanks. And so a little bit just from me, I think Rhiannon probably touched on it last month, but the RBA cash rate's still at 0.1%. So rates are staying low for a little while, which is really good. We have amazing rates down at 1.89% for 4-year fixed and variables at 2.19%. So now's a really good time to look at fixing because they don't see the market sort of moving that much with them offering the 4-year fix. So that's really good. The Home Builders Grant, there's a 2.0 that's come out and introduced by the state government. So if you're signing a contract on a new build between the 1st of January and the 31st of March, you're eligible for a $15,000 grant, and that's breaking ground within 6 months of signing that contract date. So that's great to hear. And just a reminder for anyone signing contracts or looking to sign a contract over the Christmas and New Year break, the banks do go down to sort of a skeleton staff, so bear those delays in mind, and with the public holiday days as well when you're looking at pushing out finance clauses and those sorts of things to accommodate for those delays and the skeleton staff. So just a quick little update from me on that side of things. But yeah, I think that's all from me and all from us for this year. So yeah, the next update will probably be in the end of January, early Feb. From us, so we hope you have a wonderful Christmas.
Yeah, have a great Christmas.
All the best.
Year.
2021.
Yeah. Yes, hopefully less of a roller coaster.
Less of a roller coaster.
Yeah, for 2021. Thank you.
Thanks.